Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to All About Sports. Today we discuss how the Chicago Bulls announced their new Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations, Artūras Karnišovas, official on Monday, and what direction this franchise is heading with him. He has already fired General Manager Gar Forman and has hired J.J. Polk from the Pelicans and Pat Conley from the Nuggets. I'm your host, Luca Vitale, and joining me today are Ethan Polak and Matt Posner. How are you guys doing today?
I'm well.
Fine.
All right. So, Ethan, I'm going to come at you first. Now that the Bulls have cleaned the house, will they be playoff contenders next season?
I'm going to be straight up with you. No way, Jose. There's no way this team is going to be anywhere near the playoffs anytime soon. This team has gone full rebuild mode for a very, very long time. Ever since it all started back in 2015 when they were already struggling after they've gone through three coaches. They started off with God, excuse me for my pronunciation. I can't think.
Tom Thibodeau.
Thank you. I don't watch the NBA as much as possible, but he has been there since 2015. They had him. He got fired, and then later that spring, so to speak, or summer, they got rid of D Rose. This is the end of the D Rose era in Chicago when he got traded to New York. That was really the symbolism for the end of an era and the D Rose era for the Bulls, and it was from there that these Bulls have been struggling very, very bad. After that trade with Rose, they still had Jimmy Butler. They tried to bring in D Wade. They tried to bring in Rajon Rondo. They had the three of them. That was a disaster. They barely survived. All three of them, I believe Jimmy was traded literally a year from when Rose was traded, and they just went complete full rebuild mode from there. That's when they started getting players like Zach LaVine. That's when they got their draft picks from Minnesota and that Butler trade. That's where they got Lauri Markkanen. And it was from there that they began to continue to try and get this rebuild going, get some new rookies in there. But these rookies have not really been turning out. Yes, they got Kobe White. Yes, they got Lauri Markkanen. But Lauri Markkanen has kind of been a bit of a bust. He has not been into the star that they've been hoping he'd turn into. And then other players like
well, that's because of Jim Boylen. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah, Jim Boylen.
Yeah, Boylen sucks.
Three head coaches. Their system is obviously not working. Players like Zach LaVine are trying to leave. It's just a disaster. And when people are wanting out of your city and you're telling me they're going to try and make the playoffs, that is definitely not going to be the right thing for any team looking to make the playoffs, especially when you're firing your GM, you're firing your vice presidents of operations, you're going to hopefully soon fire Jim Boylen, and then whoever else they're going to be firing. So I see this team tanking for at least another 2 or 3 more years before they even get a winning season under their belt, because they got to find someone that's actually willing to want to play for this Chicago city, because at the moment there's not really many people that want to stay.
All right, I think that the Chicago Bulls are just stuck in a hole right now that they cannot dig themselves out of. You know, you've got players like Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen, who, as you mentioned, have not really progressed to their fullest potential, we believe. Zach LaVine is definitely the star of this team. Markkanen just has no defensive skill at all. Wendell Carter Jr. can't stay healthy. Really, this entire team can't stay healthy. They still have not started Kobe White, which for some reason, I don't know. And this team just lacks the necessary talent that it takes to make a playoff run. You look at every other team in the Eastern Conference that's even just a little bit on the border with like the Nets and the Magic, and at least they still have star players that can keep their team looming around for at least the next couple of years. And I don't see any contingency plans for the Bulls at all, because when Zach LaVine gets out of here, which I think will only be a matter of time, they will legit have no one, and they'll turn into the new age Charlotte Hornets, who have their best player is Terry Rozier. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell no, this team's not going to be good in the next year. But I can say this, they'll be relevant again. The last time the Bulls were relevant was probably when Derrick Rose hurt his knee and when Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic punched each other in practice. That's the only time the Bulls make headlines. So hopefully this next season they will be more relevant. That they ain't making no playoffs. So let's start with this. Talking a little bit about history like Ethan did. Yeah, they enjoyed a very successful run at the turn of the decade into the mid-2010s as they made the playoffs 7 straight years and 8 out of 9. That was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. However, the bottom fell out when the franchise went I'm going to read these, 27-55 in 2017, 2018, 22-60 last year, and they were just 22-43 when the NBA suspended its season this year. So this team is not improving whatsoever. They look like garbage when they're playing good teams like the Celtics. But I don't know what's going on with this franchise. I hope they can figure something out. You talk about Fred Hoiberg when he got fired December of 2018 after the three plus campaigns. And then you hire Jim Boylen, who just went 39-84 in his place, and he was very, very confident in his job security, which he reported to ESPN last week. You're telling me you're actually confident with a 31 winning percentage, you're confident in your job security? And this was before Gar Forman was fired, just so everyone knows that. In order for the Bulls to be playoff contenders, Jim Boylen needs to go. The reason for that being is you have players on ESPN like Ryan Artūras. I'm sorry about that. This is a quote from him directly. We are doing a lot of running. We're getting up and down the floor. I can't emphasize enough. We are doing a lot of running. I think we'll be getting in better shape. Okay, obviously he's going to say that to an ESPN reporter because he's not going to trash his team or his coach. So let's get back to this. Boylen is the exact same coach that actually led a practice after a back-to-back game. That is absolutely unheard of in the NBA. And after that was actually planned, the players, I've never heard of this either, they actually formed a protest against Boylen. And let me tell you this, the Bulls tied, and this is Boylen's third game as head coach. They lost by 56 points at home to the Celtics, and that tied an NBA record. Therefore, fire Boylen, and hopefully you can get back together. Back to you guys now. Let's see what you have.
I'm pretty sure Boylen got an extension after going like 17.
Yeah, he was 17-41 and gets a contract extension. Don't forget about that.
Yes. So that just shows how how mad this entire Bulls GM and franchise is that they're giving this man more time to lose. I mean, their records from 2018 to 2020, last 3 years, 27-55, 22-60, 22-43. They're only going down, and they're trying to. Or this is when the rookies are supposed to be improving, and this is not the time to be saying that we're going to be having a chance to have a comeback. There's not a chance to even say we even have a chance at the playoffs. I mean, when you go in 22-43, there is no chance. Yes, you guys magically had a chance when you guys had the Bulls team, when you got Rose and all them, when you guys went from a horrible record, you guys switched the two records and were going off as soon, and that's when they had made that miraculous playoff run. But yes, that was a miracle. Whoever you have on this team is just there's no need for a miracle. There is no one to carry this team on except for Zach LaVine, who wants out. What if Zach LaVine leaves? This team's gonna be worse than the Hornets, and that's the Hornets. I mean, as you said, all they have is Terry Rozier. Who can you name? If you're someone who doesn't watch the NBA as much as me, or kind of like me, if you go and look, if you get rid of Zach LaVine, who can you name on this Bulls team? Nobody. And that's the problem when you're trying to make a rebuild. You're supposed to try and build these people's names. You're supposed to have stars coming up. No, you're supposed to build. They even have their own G League team that they could try and build players out of. And they're still struggling to do that too. They have plenty of opportunities to get these people to try and build their way up into star potential. And they have had none of that in the last few years. And that is because of coaching like Jim Boylen. And as long as I see Jim Boylen in this system for the Bulls, I don't really see them going anywhere. Because this is just a disaster, and it's just going to continue to be a disaster, like I said.
I think that with the changing of the guard as general manager, I think will also come with the changing of the guard as head coach. I don't think Boylen sticks around at all. I think when the NBA season returns, if and when it returns, Boylen will not be part of the organization. I think that it's time for some change here in Chicago. They're going to bring it, and I think that this will not help the team, however, very much, because they need to get something good out of the draft, which they failed to do multiple times now. Number one. Number two, I just feel like the Bulls don't have the necessary tools to try and recruit players in free agency, like an Anthony Davis, like a Victor Oladipo or somebody like that. They don't have an attractive enough offer to get those players to come to Chicago. Who wants to be on the Chicago Bulls on a franchise right now that appears to be on the brink of self-destructing?
Yeah, you're not wrong, Matt, here at all. I mean, let's be honest here. I remember Anthony Davis. There was a topic on ESPN, I believe, last summer saying Anthony Davis wanted to go back home to play for the Bulls instead of playing for the Lakers. Who on earth would leave the palm trees in Los Angeles, California to go play in the Windy City to an organization which is just falling apart day by day? So there's a good point right there. Their draft picks, their first round picks, and Wendell Carter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen in the last couple of years. Yeah, they've shown promise. Lauri Markkanen is definitely. Wendell Carter Jr., if he could stay on the floor, maybe he can prove more. But other deals have not panned out as many people have hoped. We take a look at Jabari Parker. Halfway into the 2019 season, they signed him to a 2-year deal worth $40 million. What was that about? He wasn't that good, and I don't think he deserved that money. So instead of talking about how bad this team is, maybe we should talk about how they can improve. So here's something that I think is something very interesting, could raise a couple of eyebrows, but it's something to think about. You trade Lauri Markkanen and Otto Porter Jr. for DeMar DeRozan on the Spurs.
That is a very, very good idea. I mean, DeMar DeRozan has been someone who's just been struggling in San Antonio, and he's been needing a new home. The only problem is really the Windy City. Is Chicago the real home for him? But giving him an opportunity to run the offense once again, because let's be honest, and on the Spurs, he hasn't been really running the offense. He's been kind of all by himself. He's not getting the ball when he wants to. He's not being able to shoot it when he wants to. And now giving him an opportunity to be able to go and do that in Chicago with all these brand new rookies where he could teach them and give them more star potential is a very smart idea. And getting rid of these players who have been struggling and getting rid of a bunch of cap space like Lauri Markkanen and the other guy you said, shoot, what was his name? Did you say Parker?
No, I said Otto Porter Jr.
Otto Porter Jr., yeah. So getting rid of those players. Yes, you're giving away young talent for another player who's out of their prime, so to speak. But giving him a new chance to revive his career, giving him a chance to maybe go get back into his prime is definitely some kind of a chance. I think giving a new GM, give him the opportunity to do something like that and get rid of, obviously, Jim Boylen and give him a new head coach that some players that will, or at least attract some players who want to come and play for the Bulls, because nobody wants to play them, let's be honest, or play for them, let's be honest. At this point, no one wants to come here. But it's those players like DeMar DeRozan that are struggling in their situation where they are in their home right now, giving them an opportunity to revive their careers or wherever they are struggling and be able to come to these younger teams and help to hopefully try and change their whole situation is definitely a smart idea. And that's why I like the idea of it.
I'm going to take the other side of this. I disagree with this. I don't think this is a good trade for Chicago, and I'll give you one reason why, or 2 words. Zach LaVine. I think that when you put a player of DeMar DeRozan's caliber and Zach LaVine, what is their main strength? Driving to the basket and finishing. And when you put both of them, and they're both shooting guard, small forward players. If you put them both on the same team, I feel like it's not going to mesh very well. And you're trading away a piece of your future in Lauri Markkanen, and your only real true sharp shooter, I'm not going to put LaVine in that category, and Otto Porter, for DeMar DeRozan, a guy who is about to reach the end of his prime, start falling a bit off into that category. And I don't think this trade makes a lot of sense for Chicago. So I don't think they should do it.
You're not wrong at all about that in that sense. I mean, I get Lauri Markkanen's supposed to be a top of the future. Obviously, he's really struggled in Boylen's system, but I'll tell you this. Whoever they decide to hire as their next coach, if that happens to be the case, maybe give him a couple of games and see if he is like struggling and just falling off, maybe then trade him for something. But I get it. Like, we'll take Chris Dunn, for example. Him and LaVine do not play well. They just don't. That's why Chris Dunn needs to leave as well, because I don't think they play with each other. I think Kobe White, especially. Kobe White's a great player. He will definitely stay on this franchise. He was on a hot streak before even the season went on hiatus, but I really think he's a good part of their future for sure. And maybe the Bulls can maybe trade something for like Fred VanVleet, for example, in the Raptors for like a power forward, because they're lacking in that position too.
That's an interesting thought of the Fred VanVleet one. I think that what the Bulls lack most and what they need to go for is a serviceable, like right now in their prime point guard, somebody who can really help the franchise right now build a foundational piece for a top playmaker who's a top facilitator as well. I don't disagree with Fred VanVleet. I just don't think he'd be the perfect fit for this team because he's not really like a head-on facilitator. I think a player such as let me think about this one for a second. If John Wall can ever get healthy, I've always thought he would be a great fit with Chicago. Mike Conley might not be a bad idea either because when you look at Donovan Mitchell in Utah, he fits better, in my opinion, as a point guard. So why not try and flip Conley to Chicago, see how that works? There's plenty of options out there. I just don't know if a Van Vliet or a DeRozan-type player makes a massive improvement on this team.
Yeah, it just goes back to the GM that just got hired. It's just like building a culture now in Chicago because they've lacked that the last couple of years because it's really just been Zach LaVine. Like, you got to be able to attract players to come play in the Windy City so that way you can actually build something on Zach LaVine because you're wasting his prime years on stuff that's not improving at all.
They are definitely lacking, especially no matter what players they get. The situation is they're just not going to just magically just start winning. No, they have way too many holes in their entire system and their entire team that yes, a Van Vliet or yes, Mike Conley will help, but at least from Mike Conley's standpoint, is he's only got a few more years before he's gonna be retiring. And yes, with all those these guys are getting old, and yes, bringing in these veterans will help, but I think they need to continue building this younger talent that they have because obviously Lauri Markkanen, in my personal opinion, did not work, and I think compared to what you said, I think he should be gone. Find someone that find some better younger talent that they can get, and maybe even include some picks, but put them in the later rounds, and hopefully find someone in the draft, or even just get rid of Lauri Markkanen for a draft pick, so they could try and reset and find someone else to replace him because he obviously is not working in this system, and unless they find a head coach that can put him into this system to have him start working, I don't think they're going to be. I don't think Lauri Markkanen's in the future plans for this, and that's why I also think adding all these older people won't help. And maybe if Fred VanVleet will work with Kobe White and all them, putting the two of them together. But in my personal opinion, I think Lauri Markkanen should really be gone, and that's why. And I think that's it. There's really nothing else that the Bulls could really do. That I think that's the first thing they really should start off doing.
Lauri, it depends. Like Matt said, he had a really good point. He has to have the right coach. He has definitely regressed from last year. I'm not going to lie about that. But it really depends on the system he's playing in, like you also mentioned. He has to have the right coach. He is not going to succeed in Boylen's system. There's been plenty of time, and he just has not succeeded within that system. So if they happen to hire a new coach and he's not fitting within that system, then yes, probably trade him for a draft pick or another player that can succeed in Chicago. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching this episode on All About Sports with Ethan, Matt, and I, and we hope you'll come back for another one.